Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the 24/7. My name is Niharika Walia, and I am with you with the era of ABFM. So let's begin with the class today. We're talking about advanced business and financial management. We'll be talking about a few more accounting principles and given by a few important philosophers of management today. Let's talk about it. The principles of management that I'm talking about is given by Elton Mayo. Elton Mayo is basically the person who is known as the father of the HRM. Human relations is something that he defined in his philosophies. When we talk about Elton Mayo, his contribution towards the area of principles of management has been huge in terms of human relations. See, gender administration was given by Henry Fayol. Henry Fayol talked about the administration in general. He was talking about how to look forward towards order, how to look forward towards discipline, what is authority, what is responsibility. So it was basically based upon the administration area. But when we talk about Elton Mayo talked about humans. How do they work upon things? How do they look forward towards things? Okay. While telling about the particular theory, let's simplify the theory he has given. One of the basic things about his theory is, okay, if I want to do something, just think over it. If I want to do something and if I know that you are noticing, what will I do? If I know that you are noticing me, I'll keep my hair properly, I'll have a proper presentation, and then while talking to you, I'll be very sound in terms of my words. Why? Because you're noticing me. If anybody's noticing me, my work, my overall working would be different. Think about a kid today. Think about a 3-year-old or a 4-year-old. What do? If we're not looking at them, they'll keep on calling us. Suniye, listen to me. I have something important to talk to. They'll blabber, but they'll still wait for our attention. Do you think as we grow up, we really lose that thing of attention? No, we don't. That is what Elton Mayo and the Fritz basically has given in terms of their studies, which they call the Hawthorne studies. Hawthorne Works of Western Electric Company, Chicago. This is where they conducted the Hawthorne Experiment. Now, this experiment was based upon this particular scenario that if people are looking at us, if the things are being observed, then the result is automatically a better one. That is what they call the Hawthorne Effect. When we talk about the Hawthorne Effect, what is it that we need to know about the Hawthorne Effect? When we talk about this Hawthorne Effect, what happens is when we give attention to someone, right? So under the study, what they did was they were studying multiple methods. What happened was every time a specific method was chosen, right? While we are choosing method, we are looking forward to the experiment and method A is being implemented, then method B is implemented, and we are looking forward to the entire application of the method A and method B. And what happened is while experimenting with method A and method B, we realized that during the experimentation, method A turned out to be a better option. Once the method A was applied, all the experimentations plus the observers who were sitting there, the lighting and everything was removed, because then the attention wasn't required anymore, because we have already chosen what we wanted, right? So if we have chosen what we wanted, then what are we going to do further about it? That means as soon as the method A was chosen, when it is practically applied, what happened was this particular method just lost its value altogether. They were like, what happened? That the point was, while we chose that particular effort or method, it was going good. As soon as we apply it, its value reduces. Now the point is, when that particular method was being evaluated, there were proper lighting, there were observers, they were constantly asking you, what are you doing? Are you really comfortable with this particular project? What are your thoughts about this particular project? Is this project going fine? We are asking all those questions. There are multiple question marks that we are putting, isn't it? So when we are putting those multiple question marks, people are interested in answering. People are interested in answering and talking about that particular project. Till the time they're talking about the project, it's going fine. As soon as you move away, the attention goes down. Nobody's looking at that. Nobody's bothered about it. So who will answer? Who will report? So basically, that is what they defined as the Hawthorne Effect. Now, the Hawthorne Experiment or the Elton Mayo's contribution towards the management. When we talk about their organization, okay, the Hawthorne basically brought, okay, There it is. This is basically the extension of what we have just studied. That is in 1927, a group of researchers led by Elton Mayo and Roethlisberger. That means both of these persons have given a specific experiment which they did in terms of the Hawthorne Works of Western Electrical Company, Chicago. This is where the experiment was actually conducted. That's why it's called the Hawthorne Experiment. The Hawthorne Experiment brought out the productivity of the employees is not the function of only physical conditions of the work and the money wages paid to them. If you pay good money to someone but you're not paying attention, slowly and suddenly they'll lose their interest in work because you're not paying attention, you're not complimenting them, you're not even looking at them. When nobody's looking, the people are not bothered about what they're doing because ultimately nobody's looking at it. So if anybody's looking at what I'm doing in my class, then I come up with the best ones. I have to prepare the data. That means because people are looking at it. That is the same scenario with this particular experiment as well. Right? So let's move on. Now, in terms of the Hawthorne experiment, what happened? Number one, the illumination experiment. Under this, they realized that in terms of the entire experiment, if the lighting was proper, people were working in a better way because they were in a better attention. For example, if we have to do the makeup even, what do? We make sure that the lighting is proper. If we are recording the classes, we make sure that the lighting is proper. Do you think that illumination is not important? So if at any place you'll find more lighting, then the people are working in a better way. If there's not that much of good lighting, then ultimately the same thing will happen. People are not being observed properly, then their work is definitely affected. Then relay assembly test room experiment. So they also conducted a specific experiment related to this as well, where they were looking forward towards the relay assembly. Okay, this was basically related to the fact that when we talk about these two areas, relay assembly test room as well as the interviewing program, they realize that whenever we are doing something, when we experiment something, right? When you are experimenting, at that point of time, things show a better result. When you interview people, at that point of time, when interviewing is gone, when you keep on asking about whatever is happening, what are their outputs towards it, what is that their contribution is about in terms of the Hawthorne experiment, they realized that people were more involved because they were being asked, they were being participative. And they also conducted a specific test in the bank wiring test room experiment. They conducted these 4 different experiments, and the effect was if the people are being noticed, then their activity, their output is better than what we have when nobody's looking at it. So basically, supervision, attention, appraisal, these are utmost important in terms of the working. So that is about the Elton Mayo's approach. But let's talk about another approach as well. That means the contingency approach. This is another approach. This is one of the latest approaches of the management. What is this about? It is basically the contingency or situational approach. What is the contingency or situational approach, everyone? See, if I say that let's have a particular topic, let's talk about a particular topic, let's study together, let's deal with this particular topic, what are we talking about? The contingencies means the point is the situation always the same? Humans are never under a situation where we are going through anything which is same. We go through situations where the situations are going to change every now and then. So basically, when we talk about it, Charles Kinderberger specified upon what it depends and in what ways. It depends upon the appropriate response to the important questions of the management. If I ask the management what is important and they say expansion, then they are working towards the growth of the organization in terms of bringing up more and more business to the organization. While if I talk about if I ask them what is it that they wanted, if they say about profit, then it talks about they're looking forward towards making more money. Growth is different, profit is different, and even if the organization says I would like to recover my losses, then they're looking forward towards survival, then they're moving towards profit, and they're moving towards growth. Right? So that's the entire scenario through which the organization works. So if this particular approach itself says that there's an uncertainty in terms of the management. So since there's an uncertainty in terms of the management, the contingency approach talks about that the situations keeps on changing. So with every situation, our working has to change. So when we talk about the contingency approach, then the task of the managers is to identify which technique will be particular situation in a particular situation under particular circumstances and at a particular time best contribute to the attainment of the organization goals. Okay, for example, during COVID, if the organization would have said it's better that we go and do the door-to-door advertising, let's look forward to it. Was it really helpful? No, it wouldn't have been. If we talk about all the educational institutions which were working, none of them were ready for the online situation. But as soon as the COVID was hit, everybody evolved and worked towards the virtual teaching was started. What was that? All these tools and techniques were taken up because the management knew that we have to come up with something, otherwise the organization will not be able to grow. That is what the contingency approach is all about. Let's talk about any other organization. For example, many event management companies, because basically during the entire COVID there were many marriages which were not even held. So it was just between two families and it was done. So when we have these kind of events, then what happens is when we have these event management companies, basically what they knew that at this point of time they will not be able to generate money. What they did was they opened their sanitization units. Now they had got their own sanitization units, so they generated money not through the marriages or events or parties. They managed their money from the sanitization units which they bought, and they started providing this service. So this is contingency approach, right? So when we talk about the management, you'll have to look forward to every single situation that you are dealing with. So every situation will have a different response. This is what the contingency approach is all about. The basic theme of the contingency approach is that there is no single best way of managing application in all situations. For example, if the organization says that you are supposed to reach the office at 10 a.m. If you're not there at 10 a.m., then there's a penalty for that. People will understand that. But do you think if there's any person who's sick at your place, then you'll be able to come at 10 a.m.? Many times we are supposed to take someone to the hospital. Sometimes we are supposed to buy something for the family. And sometimes we have those happy moments as well. Someone's birthday parties, and somehow we had a family wedding going on. So can we reach the office at 10 a.m. on every single day? Discipline is there. But then where are the human elements involved? So human elements are to be considered as well. So basically, if I keep on talking about discipline, then no doubt it will definitely give an improvement to my business. But to what extent? Is it really helping my business to grow? The discipline is all about that increase in that. Discipline has to be there. It has to be there, but in terms of management, at one point of time, you have to understand that the human element is also involved. So the contingency approach is that there is no single best way. We can take up the discipline, and sometimes we'll have to consider that there's an individual involved in it, and their personal choices and their personal life is also there, right? Then the application of the management principles should be contingent upon the existing circumstances. We will all talk about order. There's a specific place for everything, and everything should be at its place. If we talk about order there, but sometimes when there is a convenience which is required, or when there is an emergency, then the principle of order is kept aside, because other than the principle of order, we have to look forward towards a better fact, and that is in terms of the contingency approach, we have to look forward towards the suitability of that particular accounting principle that we are talking about. So that is contingency approach. Okay, so this is where I end my session regarding the particular topic of the various principles. But before we end this particular session, let's understand what are we providing you in terms of the courses for the CAIIB examination. In terms of the CAIIB examination, everyone, we are coming up. We have already actually introduced our batches for the CAIIB. The CAIIB batches have already started. So if you haven't reviewed our batches yet, kindly go towards the area of JAIIB and CAIIB. Here you will find the CAIIB 2023 column. Here you will find all the details of all the classes that are going on. The bilingual batch, the CAIIB batch, the English medium batch, all the batches are stated here. All you need to do is you need to click on the area of, for example, CAIIB 2023. This is the bilingual batch. If you're interested in purchasing the batch, then these are 8, 6 and 9, whatever the timing is for the classes that is specified here. We're coming up with BFM. We are starting with BRBL on 20th January, ABFM on 10th of February, right? So if you're looking forward to it, you can specify the same. And here comes the CAIIB English medium as well. In terms of English medium, we are coming up with the batches, and the batches are started from the BFM is starting from 2nd of Jan. It has already started. That means it started yesterday only. And then we are starting up with ABFM on 20th of January and BRBL on 10th of February, and then ABM is basically coming soon. So every specific batch that we are coming up is specified here. And if you're looking forward to the examination, new syllabus, new planning is required, and at the same time new level of questions, plus then negative marking is also being introduced later on. So it's way better that we look forward towards this examination in the best possible way with our best resources that we can use. All you need to do is you can use the code Y541 and you can apply it, and you can get it at 78% discount. Along with, you can have it for a validity of 6 months. So this is the perfect time if you're preparing for the CAIIB. Then kindly do not delay it, because delay would definitely cause you trouble, as the new syllabus is just about to be released by IIBF. The details of all the syllabus would be given soon. So if you don't start preparing right away, then your base would not be ready, and then you need a little more time to absorb it, because currently everybody is working. Considering your little time that you have in terms of your preparation, you should start your preparation as early as possible, so that by the time the examination is there, you are done with your classes, you are done with your self-study and every possible sort towards the examination. So go ahead and prepare well, everyone. I'll be meeting you in the next class at 7 a.m. tomorrow. Thank you.